Good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you're watching me. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of God, Church and Politics. Chance Munthali is my name. I'm your presenter today, or your host, if you like. I'm excited to be here, and I've got my guests waiting on the back, on the background, I should say. But first things first, Malawi is going to the polls on the 16th of September, which is literally about 21 days to go. We literally have 20 days plus one, in which the Malawians have the opportunity to choose who they want to be the next leader, the president and the members of parliament. On the ground, things are heating up, campaign trails everywhere and anywhere. Everybody's busy, and I wouldn't say it's exciting, but I can say it's a busy time for the parties that have registered to go to the polls. This is a time where Malawians have got the freedom to choose who they want to be the president, the next president of the Republic of Malawi. Here in the United Kingdom, I'm privileged to have some of the members who represent these the big political parties, I should say, on the ground. So I'm excited, and I want to say to you, please do me a favor, like and share wherever you've seen this, meaning you're live with me. All right, and I'm counting on you to make sure that we have a lot of audience joining in tonight. My guests tonight is Chalo Mvula, who is the MCP NEC member who is based in the United Kingdom, but also we have Karol Whayo, who is also the publicity secretary for the United Transformation Movement. The other day, I actually struggled to say United Transformation Movement. So today I'll be asking Karol as to speak proper. So pardon me if I didn't produce it right, but we have somebody who should be able to give you the exact meaning of UTM. But I'm excited. I'm not alone. I'm not just talking to myself. Just like, like last week, I was, the passion I have is that I want to bring sanity to the understanding, or part of being an education system that educates us is God concerned about our nation. And as Christians, which I do know that Malawi is almost 90+% of the Christendom, or the Christians that live in Malawi. And so surely if we are Christians, we must be looking up to some superpower, God. And that's why this show is called God, Church and Politics. We want to, if you like, we want to be able to analyze, is God concerned about the affairs of a nation? Can God tamper with what we do in our nations? Or is it just left to the individuals? Stick around, and the first thing I can tell you is that God is definitely concerned about the affairs of every human being who calls him Lord, Savior, Father, King. He is definitely concerned. So hey, welcome. Once again, do me a favor, share, tell somebody else we are live, and I will be back. Meanwhile, the beauty of it that today I want to be able to bring you some of the Malawian finest of music. So let me start with that boy that we started with, and his name is Driemo, singing, maybe God should have given us a trail of what it shall be like. Probably we'll be able to choose proper if God gives us a trail of what it's going to be like. Is it MCP? Is it UTM? Is it DPP? Who else? All right. So I like this song. Give us something so we know we can see the future and say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's not choose so-and-so, because the trailer I saw of where we go with these governments, let's not choose them, right? Anyway, stick around. I'm here. Let's entertain ourselves. So here we go. It stands. Malawi is in not turmoil. I wouldn't call it. See, the truth of the matter is, let me start. This is just from the personal views of a host. I don't think we're in a turmoil. We're kind of like, I know, okay, even to this end, I know that we have individuals that think they can challenge me to this concept. Fine, I get it. But what I do believe is that the whole world is in turmoil, if we are to say that, because I look at the prices, how they've sold in the United Kingdom, and I'm thinking, if the giant is affected, surely the little one called Malawi will be affected. Maybe these are issues we need to be talking more. Anyway, that's just my personal views. But as I said, I promised you I'll be bringing this individual with me. First of all, let me welcome a friend of mine, an individual I have respect in Chalo Mvula, who is the member of Malawi Congress Party National Executive Committee. based in the United Kingdom. Mr. Chalo Mvula, welcome.
Thanks very much, Pastor Chance Munthali. I appreciate the invitation to be on your show.
Perfect. Feel at home, and I'll be hitting you with some of the questions from myself and probably from the audience. But also tonight, we're also joined by a dear lady in Miss Karol Whayo. Is it Mrs. or just Miss?
Mrs.
Yeah. Karol Whayo, welcome to the show. You are the UTM Publicity Secretary based in the United Kingdom, right?
Correct.
Perfect. Welcome. It's my first time to interact with you, but I want you to know that this is a show that literally gives you the freedom to be who you are, speak what you have to say. We have an audience that literally wants to get the mind or the mindset of the Publicity Secretary and the MCP NEC member. So you two, welcome both.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. So let's get straight into this. My first thing is that probably let's talk about the little the icebreaker that I would want to say is, let's acknowledge, before we talk about politics and the game of parties and numbers and everything else, let's acknowledge that the world is going through a lot, not only Malawi. Let me start with shall we start with the ladies first?
No. This is the level play field.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Mvula. The world is in a turmoil, not just turmoil, but let's be honest, the problems that are hitting nations, it's not just Malawi. Shall we acknowledge
Yeah, you are right on that point. I think we are passing through difficult times, I would say, because I think it started from the COVID pandemic. Yeah. Since that pandemic, it's like the whole economic thing about the world has just gone downhill, really. Most of the countries are struggling. And we are not exceptional as Malawi. And that has also had an impact on how the first term of Malawi Congress Party, Tonse Alliance government, has been. But I agree with you. There's a lot of things happening. The COVID pandemic came, and then we had the Russia-Ukraine war, which is still ongoing up until now. It has affected so much of the economic world, and yeah, it's all chaos everywhere, and most of the governments are struggling due to these economic hardships or the challenges that are presented globally. You'd find that most of the ruling governments in different countries, they've really struggled because despite them promising to deliver a lot of things that they wanted to deliver, but it's like the natural pandemics, the war has just derailed them. And it's been a challenge not only to Malawi, but we are lucky that as a Malawi Congress Party, we've managed to put everything together and tried to sail through all those challenges and deliver to Malawians.
Well, listen, I will be cutting you. It's my show, so allow me to jump in whenever I have to. If I take you to Karol, I know she will definitely jump in and says, "What did you just say? Malawi Congress Party has managed to." Anyway,
I'm glad you picked up on that one. I'm really glad you picked up on that one.
The world has been hit somewhat. Would you echo that?
The world, yes, as a whole, yes, the world has been hit really hard, but to some other nations, it's an excuse to get away with, I would say, maybe murder, to get away with all the bad things that they're doing. So they would find that it's an excuse. So if you look at UK, we were hit just like any other country. But what, just a minute, please. Sorry.
That's
so
fine.
if you look at the UK, we were also hit equally, just like in another country in the world. But we managed to sail through that. America managed to sail through that. Why is it that Malawi is still stuck on the same thing? We're talking about the war.
Would you not then say that?
I wouldn't agree with one point that my sister has raised.
Okay, let me finish because that's just one point.
Wait, Mr. Mvula, wait, Mr. Mvula. Let Mrs. Whayo finish. Go ahead.
So you also mentioned that, like we're talking about COVID. COVID was like close to 5 years ago. So why are we still talking about COVID today? We don't even have any gloves, or we don't even wear any facial masks and everything else anymore because it's non-existent. We're even living with COVID. So why are we still talking about that? So it's like we're still finding excuses just to get away with the wrong things, that the failures that the Malawi Congress government has done. They want to push it on somebody else instead of taking responsibility that actually we have failed. We have failed on the promises we made to Malawians. We have failed on everything that we're supposed to do. So instead of owning up to that, don't sugarcoat it.
Right. So then I'll throw it back to Chalo. According to Mrs. Whayo, she feels as good as the whole world has been hit by this. Somehow we are exception. I mean, Malawi and MCP-led government is a bit exceptional. Somehow we failed, not because the whole world seems to be hit by it. What's your response to that?
Malawi wouldn't be exceptional, because if anything else, Malawi would be one of the countries, being those least developed, will be one of the very first countries to get affected by that. I was trying to chip in when my sister was talking about, in reference to the United Kingdom, that it hasn't been affected. I think that point is not massively right, because we all know
I acknowledge that it has been affected.
We all know what happened to Rishi Sunak's government, that they paid the price due to the economic hardships, the rising of the cost of living. Yeah, we saw the Labour government coming in with a lot of promises, but 12 months on, Keir Starmer is being described as one of the worst prime ministers, probably. So Malawi wouldn't be exceptional in this. And to talk of COVID, yes, I understand it's been 4 or 5 years ago. But what we are talking about here is a government that came in with a plan on how it's going to rescue Malawi from the damage that was done by the DPP government. Yeah, so we came in, and then once we started delivering as Chance Alliance at the time, we were met with all these things. They derailed us. The follow-up years were us trying to recover, to come back to that point whereby we have to start delivering. That's why I was saying we were derailed, but now we are back on track. Dr.
Now, okay, before Karol comes in, I can tell she's ready for this.
I'm loving this.
before Karol comes into this, I want Karol also to admit that it's not just the MCP-led government that failed, because at the beginning it was the Chance Alliance, Karol.
Okay, that's a good one, because it was supposed to be, on paper, it's supposed to be Chance government. Right? Chance Alliance government. But you and me, we both know that it's MCP-led government. And I can quote the previous Secretary General, Honorable Kaka. He said it's not a Chance government, it's an MCP government. So when things go wrong, why do you want to bring Chance in? But when things are right, you're enjoying, you want to say that it's MCP government. So you can't pick and choose. So it's either you pick a side and stick to it than say, good, it's Chance when things are bad. But it's MCP when you're enjoying.
There we go. Anyway, that was just my part, bringing in this kind of a confusion. I didn't want to bring us here first. First things first. Okay. I want to also, can I, 1 second, Tim, 1 second. May I say that I didn't just bring Caroline, who's the publicity secretary for the UTM, and Mr. Mvula, who is the MCP NEC member. But I also tried to reach out to DPP, all right? And I was given an excuse. I apologize that I reached out very late, but like any other of these that are here, they also got it today. And I just wanted to put it clear out there. It's not that I just chose these two. I wanted all the three major parties in our nation to be here. So I just needed to clear the air why DPP is not here. I was given an excuse. So let's move on. I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand. It's not only you that I invited. I needed all three big parties to be here. Hopefully next time we can have everybody else. Let's get to the invite came in a bit that I really want. Sorry, you wanted to say something.
I'm just echoing with you that yes, the invite came a bit late, but we had to move things around. Yeah, we had to move things around, you know.
In fact, can I throw it back to you? Your person, I may not mention who gave me your number, knew it from last week.
No, he actually mentioned it to me.
Eh?
He actually mentioned it to me. That's why I was quite flexible to move things around, because I was expecting your call.
So I trust me. He's given me today when I followed up like, okay. I didn't have, where is then he goes, oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Today, literally.
Yeah, but I was aware of the developments.
I have given you now the full version. I didn't want to say the name. You can deal with him yourself. I did my due diligence. Anyway,
okay.
Let's start now. This one, let me start with Mr. Mvula again. manifesto. What is the manifesto that Malawi Congress Party has that you can somehow summarize for us, that we must be enticed?
Yeah, actually, MCP's manifesto has been described in certain quarters as probably one of the best manifestos delivered since the referendum in Malawi. So that explains how good the manifesto is. The title itself, it says taking development forward. So it fully explains itself that it's all about taking the development forward from the foundation that we have laid, that President Dr. Chakwera has laid. It's got 5 key areas. And those key areas include food security for all. This is the MCP government trying to achieve food sufficiency for Malawi by the year 2030. Yeah. So there are a number of areas that we're going to do this, which I'll fully explain as the show goes on. But that includes large-scale commercial farming, which is the mega farms that we've started, flagship things that have made really our government stand out, and also the support for farmers to access affordable facilities, but also to get good prices when they take their crops to the market. The second major aspect of our manifesto is the job creation. And with this, we are trying to create 3 million decent jobs. And these jobs, we are targeting the youth, because we know the youth have had a lot of challenges. They are going to university, getting their degrees, coming on the job market, there's no jobs there. But we have decided that time has come when we have to make changes. And after this election from 2025 to 2030, that's when we're going to deliver those things. And with this, the job creation thing, there are some things that we've included in that. And that includes what we are calling the 10-10 Makwacha Youth Challenge. Basically, this is picking out about 10,000 young individuals and pumping into them 10 million Kwacha loans so that they can start agribusinesses. But also, we have made plans. You know, NEF, the successive NEF that has provided loans and access to funds to a lot of people in Malawi to develop their small and medium scale businesses. Yeah, with that one, we also want to transform that to a development bank to offer tailored products and loans to people that are qualifying for that and help them to, to move forward, thereby giving room for them to employ other people as well and to get them to be involved in the job market as well. And the third part of it is the wealth creation. And with the wealth creation, we're trying to foster economic empowerment and structural transformation of the country. You know, probably you might have heard it. With the 2063 Malawi agenda, we have put a strategy which we are calling the ATM and M strategy. This is us focusing in key areas that we feel is going to transform the Malawi economy. And these key areas are agriculture, trade, manufacturing, and mining. The whole essence of it is to boost productivity and diversify the economy. And also, we are raising the mining sector, because we've realized Malawi has got resources which has been underutilized. But then we feel that when we focus in mining, development of mining, it's going to have a contribution to the country's GDP, moving from less than 1% to about 10 to 15% by the year 2030. So we're going to be having mining as one of our key priorities as well. And then we have the fourth part, which is the governance reform. This is basically, we want to improve transparency and accountability in the government. We want people to know what the government is actually doing. And also to make sure that those things, that decisions that are made in the government are decisions that are involving all Malawians, not just a few. We have highlighted a few areas in that aspect. I can give you an example, like abolishing the chief executive officers' positions for the city councils. We want people to be electing mayors, like we do here in UK, like the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, or mayor of Manchester, Andy Benham. The people should elect their mayors. And also, we have highlighted the need for involvement of the youth. That's why in our manifesto, we are making a promise to say, in the cabinet, 4 cabinet posts are going to be going to people that are 35 years and under. This is just to empower the youth and bring them forward to the leadership positions. And also we have other things that are reducing presidential powers in public appointments and also strengthening anti-corruption measures. Lastly, before I take much of the time, it's about public service delivery. And this is to improve access to quality public services. So this is going to include like a doubling of public servants' salaries, and also making sure that we expand things like electricity access to people. So if you're going to ask me saying, what is the MCP manifesto all about? Yes, it's all about taking development forward. It's all about going in line with Malawi 2063 agenda, but it's also focusing in key areas that we feel is going to transform the Malawi economy.
That is well articulated. I'll be asking you some of the questions from that which you have given me. But before, Karol, before you come on in, allow me to let's go back to let's take a little break. That's what I mean. All right, you guys will be back, but allow me just to take a little break for now. But that manifesto, well articulated. But wait for me. I'll be coming. Meanwhile, back in a second. Welcome back. Chance Munthali is my name, the host of this show, God, Church and Politics. Once again, I would like to welcome you to where we are discussing the politics of our nation, Malawi. Malawi is going to the polls on the 16th of September, electing a president and the members of parliament. On the ground, people are busy. We are literally 20 to 21 days before people can actually cast their votes. And so I have two individuals in the warehouse, in the studio, in Mr. Mvula, who is the member of Malawi Congress Party National Executive Committee. But also we also have a representative from the UK wing, the Publicity Secretary for United Transformation Movement, in Mrs. Karol Whayo. Once again, welcome to you both. Let's go back to this. What did I do? Welcome back to you both. And I've heard a little bit about the manifesto that consists from the MCP. Let me give the floor to the dear lady for the UTM, Karol. Go ahead. Tell us, what's the manifesto of your party?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the floor. In UTM, we are looking at a person as a whole, as an individual. So we're looking at the things that that person needs or that family needs. So we're talking about the biggest problem that we have is that money is centralized to Capitol Hill. So for the money to trickle down to the person on the ground, it's a struggle. And then what happens is like, it's going in people's pockets. So the actual person on the ground will not get anything. So UTM is saying that, no, we're going to decentralize and make sure that each district receives their own pocket. And they're in charge of how they want to do with the developments in their district. So we're talking about 100 billion per district. So we've got about 28 districts. So that's about you can do the maths. I'm not an accountant, but if you want the figures, I've got that. And then we're talking about national mega farms. I know our friends mentioned about mega farms, and it was the very same things that MCP promised last time. And this time around, we've seen my mega farms, which to me doesn't make sense because everything is there. So the money, the resources are there. Why do we not have the mega farms? Why is it coming back in today that you're talking about mega farms when the opportunity has been there for 5 years for the mega farms to come in effect? So we are saying that, okay, UTM will bring in all these mega farms there by creating jobs, okay, for the young people, women and men, because we're not only looking at the young people, because if still there is men, old people who also want to survive, they need jobs. So that's about job creation. So if job creation, we're going to create at least 4 million jobs, actually 5 million jobs over the course of the 5 years. That's UTM for you. And then we're also talking about tourism development, which will receive about 500 billion. That one will help with the tourism of Malawi. We've got a beautiful country with that is being wasted. So we're talking about mining. We've got so many resources, natural resources in Malawi. So once we tap into that, Malawi can stand on its 2 feet. We're talking about another 500 billion on manufacturing. We've got so many resources, Okay, I'll expand it better, but let me just give you the bullet points. So we also have the infrastructure, and then we're also going to give 500 billion public and private pension. And also we're going to give 300 billion Malawi Export Growth Facility. Okay, make it. And also going to do 200 billion for youth and skills transformation, so that these young people, they're given all the tools to work with, all the tools to develop the country and develop themselves. So maybe you can start from there, and then we can expand further. You're mute. You're mute.
Sorry. Thank you for that. Well articulated. And so let me bring you guys back again into this. So when we look at these manifestos that you've talked about, I was writing down my notes. It looks similar. Maybe at the end of the day, my point is, why should people trust you with what you're saying? Because just like you said, let me start with Mrs. Whayo.
Oh, Miss Whayo is fine.
Oh, Caroline is fine. Is that all right?
Yes. So these titles, they can be very heavy.
Okay. Please understand, I don't undermine your position in whatever way.
No offense taken.
Being in the United Kingdom for 23 years now, I feel British. I called you Chalo, I called you Karol. It's all right. I still respect.
It's my name, yes.
It's
my name. Cool. I feel comfortable in my skin with that.
But let me come back to you, Karol. You are talking about money centralized or decentralized.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about national mega farms. What's the difference between national mega farms and the mega farms that our dear the MCP is doing? What's the difference?
I think I can't talk much about the MCP because they're the ones that know the technical know-how of how they want to run with their mega farms.
Okay.
I can only talk about us as UTM, that these mega farms are going to be there in all the points, the districts. Let's say, for example, we're talking about Mwanza, the Dumanachis, right? Yeah. So you go there and then you empower people in that area with the things that they're actually good at. And then you're creating jobs there. And then also we're also producing our local produce, putting in the, bringing them back down on the food chain to our local stores and everything. So we are focusing on what that area is good at.
Yeah.
So if you can see Malawi as a whole, we've got new things to a different area. No, the very same things that they grow, sugarcane. In Chihuahua, for example, sugarcane. We want to make sure that that actually is intensified, so that, like today, people are sleeping on the queues looking for sugar in Malawi, like for real. We've got factories that create sugar. And in Malawi, we are like suffering. We don't even have sugar. So that thing that people have to be suffering for things that we already have should, so that people in those villages, they have enough and enough to sell to others.
I for some reason I've lost Chalo, so I will just centralize on this. The people missing out on sugar, as you're saying, that is not just about the mega farms, is it?
I'm just giving an example that like people from Chihuahua, if they are to have sugar, right? Yeah. They've got small scales and mega farms. The mega farms are the ones that are going to be helping the country. And then those people on small scale, they'll have enough to cater for themselves in those areas. And they can even cater for the whole Malawi, so that the excess and the surplus can be sold out and bringing in the revenue and forex.
Perfect. Listen, it sounds exciting, but do we think that my question to you is, are you guys, do you have the mechanism that if you come into power, if Malawians were to give you the capacity to run the government, do you think you've got the capacity to do it?
Absolutely. Our president, Dr. Daliso Gabambe, he has proven over and over that he's capable of doing these things. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's done it before. So what will stop him from doing it now? He was there as the reserve governor the whole time during the Peter Mutharika government. He was there during the Bakili Mulu's government. He was there during Bingwa Mutharika government. So he has actually showcased that he's capable of handling all these things, and he knows how to go about it. So that one, Malawi is safe, very safe.
One will have a question to say, if this man you have trusted to be at the helm, by the way, let me put it before we talk about Dalito Kabambe. I have respect for the man who started UTM, SKC. May his soul continue to rest in peace. One of the things I enjoyed from him is the lecturing about mindset change. Do you realize, maybe let's talk a little bit about that before I go to Dalito. Do you know that I think Malawi to this very day suffers from mindset change?
Absolutely.
Can we agree?
I agree completely. Yes, I do. Because
now,
we...
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, as a country, I think we've come to a point whereby we have been brainwashed, or our brains, they start to shrink. We don't think outside the box. So we become dependent because we are tailored. We are made to depend on someone to make us, to give us things, handouts and stuff, which is really bad. That is what our late president, may he so rest in peace, SKC, was saying, that, you need to get out of that. Stop depending on people, stand on your 2 feet, and then you will see that things will start changing, because it's starting in your head. Once you change your mindset, everything else falls through, because you've changed the way you look at the world. You've changed the way you look at things and the way you perceive other things. When things are happening, you know that actually, no, if I'm to do this, things will turn out the different direction. So mindset.
I totally agree with it. The other day I was saying we will keep on changing leaders, but up until a Malawian is educated, and I'm not talking about going to a university for education. Let's be honest, some of the educationists, the people with the degrees, have not really helped us. So when it comes to,
we can agree on that one.
Yeah, do we agree on that one, right?
Yes, having a degree doesn't measure how intelligent you are. You're just good with the books, but are you intelligent enough to handle business?
Because we've see my point, Karol, in that is the people. What kind of education do you need apart from being a professor? And what kind of a qualification do you need apart from being a doctor of that, whatever you are into, economics, health and everything else? We've got these individuals, but somehow we seem to be going nowhere. And so when it comes to the an educated individual, I think what a Malawian needs is wakumudzi, to be educated. Don't choose based on Mwakwatu. I know we can't kill it completely, but they need to understand the consequences of choosing an individual just because he's from the South. Because to be honest with you, if I was to come in, Karol, I'm from the North, but I back anybody who becomes the president of our country. And I think the Northerners, they need to be applauded for that, because we've never had somebody at the helm who can show the nation how it ought to be done. We've always had those aspirants who have ended up being quashed because their numbers are small. Anyway, let's welcome back Chalo, and maybe he may have a thing or two. Chalo, welcome back.
Thank you. I
was literally talking to Karol about what she was talking about in terms of the mega farms, the national mega farms, her version, and I wanted to know what's different. What's different from yours to theirs? And so let's go to you. You've spoken about, taking what is this, food security up to 2030, large scale mega farming, which probably Karol has some stern words for you about that. Bring us to light with your manifesto.
I understand where she's coming from, but also I think we also have to understand that we have to start somewhere. Okay. It's something that has not been happening in Malawi over the past years, and I think at this stage we need to be applauding the Chakwera administration for the efforts that they've done so far, whether some people choose to call them mega farm ngono. But the thing is, we have started to see results.
Oh, no. It's not some people. It was the actual minister. It was the Honorable Kamwen.
Not some people. Like the CEO of the party. Whether the description is going to be mega farm ngono or akurakulu or whatsoever they can call them. But I think we need to look at
before you
look at the bigger picture.
Where did that come from? Tell me where that came from. Mega farm ngono. Where did that come from?
No, I've got no record of it, and I think my colleague has got no record of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Last enough I've got a record. It was our minister, Honorable Chimwendo. He said in Times Television when he was being interviewed, he said, "Oh, we've already started my mega farm ngono." So we're like, okay.
The point I'm driving
at. Are you not just pulling the leg because you know that he kind of like fumbled on that one? Literally, what he wanted to say is mega farm, big mega farm.
He should have corrected himself. When you realize
the point I'm trying to drive.
Okay, let's go back to Chalo. Let's hear what Chalo has to say.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to drive at is the fact that we have seen results happening, because the whole idea of this whole thing is about commercialization of farming. Yeah.
Okay.
And for a long time we've relied. Kumango dali la kwa mvula basi anhalime zintu zao. Mwina ngatichima ngajegungolima once in a year. But when we came into power, we thought, no, it can't go on like this. And then the starting of initiatives like mega farms, we have seen the results so far. And when we are looking at 2060, because I think your question is why are we bringing it back in 2030 manifesto? The idea is economic revolution. Yeah. If we commercialize farming, which is one of our key areas as Malawi, because, you know, it's a landlocked country and that kind of thing. When we commercialize farming, we know we're going to grow crops which will be able to feed our nation, food security, which will be able to export to different countries, which is bringing in things like cucumbers, forex. So it's all about bringing solution to Malawians. The MCP manifesto is focused on Malawians, and that's what it is all about.
Now, I think if I was to say, so we're talking about mega farming, and which has in your case, you're saying it's already started, right?
It does.
Support for small farmers. You said something about it. Job creation as well. 3 million job creation. Now, both of you, before you come in, before Karol comes in, you spoke about 3 million job creation.
Yes,
talk to me about that.
It's about setting targets. It's about setting targets. And we are setting a target that, because we've realized that a lot of young people, it's been happening a lot. It's not only happening in Malawi, in Africa, in other countries, it's always happening. But we want to provide solutions to Malawians. So we've set a target. We've seen that a lot of people are not finding jobs. Yeah. And we have put initiatives in place, which basically we want to empower people to start businesses. We want to empower people to grow their businesses so that they can employ other people, and thereby, and it's also complemented with other things like foreign direct investment. We need to bring in investors that can open companies that can invest in certain areas, whether it's tourism. It's all interlinked because it's also going back to what I talked about. I talked about the ATM and end strategy. So everything is interlinked. But at the end of it, our target is to make sure that by 2030, we've created about 3 million jobs.
Karol, you spoke about 4 million jobs. How realistic is this? Is this just part of the manifestos that have gone to go out there? How realistic are we talking about 4 million jobs in your?
It's actually 5. It's actually 5.
5?
Yes.
5 million. Tell me about it. I mean, what are these jobs that you guys are talking about? 5 million jobs. Come on, man.
I give you a breakdown. I give you a breakdown of we are starting once we go into power on 17 September. Yeah. We are going to have the manufacturing industry, which will be coded.
Right.
So, yeah. No. Apart from manufacturing, 1 minute. I need this. The word is going. Mining.
Mining, right?
Mining, yes. If you talk about mining, we're going to have a lot of people that will go into those mines. So which basically means that we've already created a lot. Okay. So from mining, and then we go to manufacturing, because with mining we want to be selling the finished product, not the raw materials, because we're being duped by selling raw materials. So we want to be selling the finished product. That means there's a lot on that chain of up to the finished product. There's people who are going to be employed locally. So you can already see that only one area we will have. I don't have the figures right now, but from that one, we're talking about the tourism industry. That's people being employed. We're talking about the farming. That's people employed. So if you can see all the areas that I mentioned, you find that there is people being employed locally. It's going to create a lot of jobs. So that is quite achievable. It's not even difficult. What I don't understand is our government. They failed to employ 1 million people. Instead, they laid off a lot of people, and then now they're promising 3 million or 4 million. How is that going to happen? Because
don't you think? And I think so. To your question, don't you think then probably promises and realistic actions are two different things?
You can argue that, but
because from the beginning there were also of million jobs promised.
1 million.
But let's be honest. Realistically, with the economies being hit, with the natural disasters that probably we don't know what happens after the 16th of September, how realistic are we talking about 5 million jobs being done?
We like this year the budget was 8 trillion. Yeah, so I've given you those billions. Those billions amount to 4 billion, right? So 4 trillion, 4 trillion. So out of the 8 trillion that we have on our budget, 4 trillion is going to go into those areas. So we still have a surplus of 3 trillion. And that trillion, so it's actually achievable. It balances. So it's not like we're taking the figures from elsewhere. It has actually, we've got the whole workflow of how the money is going to come from, where it's going to come from, where it's going to go. And then in the end, you find that everything has been actually accounted for. But
Chalo, According to Miss Whayo, Mrs. Whayo, Caroline, she feels that your promises haven't even hit 1 million. What's your response to that?
Promises, you mean like the past promises or from the manifesto?
Yeah, the past promises of creating 1 million jobs plus.
I think the issue of what has happened in the past 5 years, I think we can end up being repetitive of the reasons why we've probably not hit the targets that we wanted. Yeah. And but now we are looking at what we're going to deliver in the next 5 years.
Sorry, I'll cut you for a minute, because
let me just finish this point. Let me just finish this point.
For you to finish, I just want you to project.
The MCP manifesto, which we have delivered to Malawians, is looking at the next 5 years and ahead of that next 5 years, which is the 2063 agenda. The MC manifesto has been quantified to make sure that everything is interlinked. We know where the jobs are going to come from. Our manifesto is not just a bunch of promises put together like the UTM manifesto. It's not just about manifestos telling people points that you can't even quantify or say where the money is going to come from, just dropping figures to people. No, it's not about that. It's about carefully thought strategies that we've put in place. Strategies that comes from areas that I've mentioned, the farming, areas that I've mentioned about youth employment, areas that I've mentioned about promotion of mining, tourism, agriculture sector. We know where the jobs are going to come from, and it's fully thought through. It's a very good man.
Carol, you come in that a little bit?
Yes, I wouldn't want to be on the same playfield with MCP, because MCP has got all the resources today. Okay. Yeah, you've got the government machinery at your disposal. Why are you not doing that today? Why do you have to promise me something that you could have done today? You have failed to do the. Let me finish. You had 5 years to accomplish that. You haven't. Instead of employing people, you have fired people. For example, PTC has been closed, ADMAC closed, people laid off. I've given you examples, right? So instead of people
before you continue, PTC. Is that the MCP late government that actually shut that down?
It was actually finished this 5 years, completed it. And they closed. We've got a PTC.
Would you say that, but MCP probably just was at the receiving end? Let's be honest.
If you're the leader, for example, you are the father of the house, and then something is not going right, and you look the other way, it's your problem.
Okay.
Because as a father, you're supposed to give resources that I don't want that child to go astray. Right. I want my child back. So everything that happens, it goes back to the MCP government, because they have the government machinery. They've got all the resources. So you can't say we want to promise for 2030 when you haven't.
I think if I can chip in from what she has said, is the fact that I am highlighting to Malawians, and I'm also highlighting to the people that are watching, that MCP has laid the foundation. We have faced some challenges, we have navigated the challenges, and now we are at a position whereby President Chakwera has laid the foundation and we are going forward. So the thing is, we can go back to say, oh, why did you promise this? Oh, we understand that. But the thing is, leadership is all about providing solutions. Leadership is all about providing directions. And MCP is here coming and telling Malawians that, you know what, we have the solutions now. We have laid the foundation. The DPP government messed up the Malawi economy. We have navigated everything and come together, and Malawi's economy is now stabilizing. I'm not saying everything is going well, but now we are going
well, actually, nothing. Because people are hungry today.
In terms of, you can pick companies to say, oh, this one was closed. Closing of companies is dependent on many factors, and some of the factors are the business strategies of those companies. Even here in UK, we know of companies going into administration. It's not a new thing in a business world.
We're talking about government companies.
But what I'm saying is, MCP is looking forward. MCP is transforming Malawi economy. The strategies that we've put in place are going to transform Malawi economy. We have gone past the difficult years. Dr. Chakwera has laid the foundation, and now we are moving forward. And the manifesto, everything that is in our manifesto will be delivered, and we can assure Malawians that.
Right, before you guys go to the last segment, let me take a break a little bit and be there. I'll be back. We will be back. We'll be back. Right, welcome back. Chance Munthali is my name. I'm hosting two individuals that are talking about their manifestos, but also giving us a current and the future that we hope for. in the studio on the background. I'll be bringing them for the last segment. We're talking about the current affairs, of course, discussions about it, but also thinking about what the future could be like for Malawi. On the 16th of September, you have the opportunity to choose who is the right individual that can sit at the helm of the presidency of Malawi, who can give, direction and steer Malawi out of its economic crisis and troubles that we find ourselves in. Chalo Mvula, who is from the MCP, has alluded to the fact that so many things culminated together when they took over the government. Somehow can be an excuse a little bit, but we still feel somehow certain things have not been done according to the promises that were there. We're hearing promises. Manifestos have to do with promise. I'm going to do this. It's like you're betrothing a woman, like, I'm going to buy you a plane. This is what we are here right now. The next segment that I want to bring these individuals to. Guys, welcome. And what I want to bring us to the next segment is this, the ideology. I want you to be 1 minute, or if not 1.5 minutes, please. Malawi, its politics, somehow I think we are not based on the ideas. If you come to the United Kingdom, the main parties are Labour and Conservative. The Labour, Karol, your affiliations. Tell me your affiliations in the UK, or you don't want to say
Labour. But now I'm switching towards Conservative because.
Oh, there you go. I love this. You're free spirited, I can tell. Okay, so from Labour, you're what's made you?
I haven't switched completely, but I'm thinking about it. I'm seriously.
You're thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you been disappointed by a Labour government at the minute?
Yes. The policies and stuff. So I want to. I'm someone who wants to
explore.
I want to think for myself. I don't want someone to make the decision for me. So I have to be able to assess and say that actually this is what I believe in.
Which do you align yourself to in the UK?
That's not an easy question as you might think. But basically, what I can tell you is that. The party, because I'm also the deputy director of international affairs in the national executive of Malawi. And one good thing that I can tell you is that my Congress party prides itself in the relationships that we have with parties from different countries. And the Conservative Party.
So you don't want to choose. You don't want to say
no. The Conservative Party are our sister party. We share the same ideology, of which because we're in the segment of ideologies.
So maybe we need to pull Mrs. Whayo to MCP, who knows?
Never,
from the look of it, it's going that way.
That's just me. Let's come back. My question is this: Malawi's politics are not based on the ideology. I think if you come over here, Labour stands for the poor, Conservative stands for the rich. Yeah, Malawi, let's accept it's just the game of how many people are men are more. It's the games of that's why we have difficulties. Can you say something about this? I mean, surely in the manifestos we give, there's not much that a poor man can truly align with your whatever you're promising. It covers all of it. I want you to break it down. How does a poor person of a Malawi, a Malawian who is poor, how do they align themselves with the manifestos that we're giving out? How realistic it is, again, Karol?
Okay, the manifestos, to me, I feel like they're just this beautiful and clean and well polished. It's just sometimes.
So you agree with my point there? That's the exact thing I'm trying to say.
I do agree that if you see most of the parties from the history, I draw my lessons from history. History is the best teacher. If you see from when we got our independence, all the way to when we had the referendum, we find that people come in with a manifesto that is really beautiful. But then when they come on the ground, they don't even look at it. I think they even close it and say, you know what, let's just go and enjoy. They don't touch it anymore. So this is what has always been happening up until now. The same thing, 2019, 2020, the manifesto is beautiful. But how did the common person in the village benefit from that? You find that nothing, zero. That's why
to your UTM manifesto, how does it align with the poor person in the village? How can they benefit from this?
as I mentioned, like we are looking at it's a third revolution, right?
Okay.
So if we talk about the farming, it's the person in the village who is going to farm. He will have food, or he or she will have food for their families. They'll have a little bit of money left from the work that they're doing. They'll even have a little bit left from the excess that are selling. So we're actually focusing on the people who are really less privileged. Because if you find that these mega farms, these minings, they'll be in those villages, catering for those poor people. So it's actually focusing more on the people in the villages than people in town. Because how much do people in town need? They all depend on from the village people, that for us to eat in town, we need people from the village to farm.
Right. Chalo, coming in, how does your manifesto relate with the poor person? And I'll give you an example. I'm from Karonga. Karonga has had Kayerekela under the GPP regime. Oh my days. Listen, Karol, if I was to shout about this, I wish I had somebody to get a hold of their neck. Karonga is as poor as it used to be. Meanwhile, you know, so much money was dug out of it. Right?
And Malawi never benefited from it because
that's
they're still
my point
doing
again.
research.
So
they'll take tons and tons for research.
But again, to that effect, we can't push that on MCP. My point is this.
No, that one, I'm not pushing it on MCP. I'm sure that one is they have to take full responsibility. What I wanted was for our Chalo to take responsibility of other things. But from when we started up to now, he hasn't taken responsibility of anything. He's pushing it forward.
Actually, come on in. Actually, I've taken responsibility of quite a lot of things. But what I've done here, I've also highlighted the fact that why it was challenging for some of those things to be accomplished. But going to the question that you're asking about ideology, but it's true, Malawian politics, we have this problem, but probably it's not something that, it's very common in Africa anyway for parties not to have ideologies, unlike the West. Because from not because I'm MCP, but my understanding is that it's only MCP that really stands out to have an ideology, because we are a center-right party. We are more of a conservative party. It comes from the years being the oldest party. And I think sometimes people always say, oh, MCP, you know, referring to the doing things in an old way. But what center-right parties focuses on is law and order. Yeah, it focuses on economic stability. You know, it focuses on the poor people. Unlike what you, Chance, said, that the Conservative Party are for the rich people, I don't think that's a right statement as well. Because I think
correct. I agree.
The Conservative Party is not just for the
rich become richer.
You don't agree with what I said in the
I don't agree with that, but because I'm not here to defend the Conservative Party, but because we share the same ideology with the Conservative Party, what I'm going to say is our manifesto is really aligned to the poor people of Malawi. Let me say this. Our manifesto is aligned to all Malawians, whether the rich, the poor, everybody else, the marginalized, you know, the women, the men, it's covering everybody. For the poor people, we have already showcased that MCP is so caring for the poor people. The AIP, you know, the lots of beneficiaries in the agriculture sector. You heard about the social cash transfers, all those kind of things. It's all about focusing on improving the lives of the poor people. And we are continuing that in the manifesto that we have. So unlike other parties that are probably just positioning themselves so that they should go back in power, so that they can start to root government resources again, MCP is going back in power to save Malawians in the rural areas, improve the lives of the people. That's a bold
statement. Now listen to this. I need both of you back next week, Monday. All right, because some of the questions I don't think I can touch them, because I still feel that the next question that I want you to be pondering, you guys, as you go, is what is the change that we're craving about? Because you know, I don't need you to answer on this, but I want to thank you for coming on. We don't have much time. I wanted this program to run by, as we promised, an hour, and I want to stick to my words. Thank you very much for coming on. Last words, 30 seconds, Mrs. Whayo. 30 seconds.
Malawi has been brought down on its knees by the MCP government. People are suffering. People in this day, all they want is just food. Basic needs, they don't have it. So I am saying that, you know, now it's time to try the people who have actually done this before, because our president now, he says, in a sense, so why do we want to be with people who don't even know anything? Because right now we are suffering the consequences of electing people who don't know anything. So Malawi, think twice and be wise, because the time has come now. Because if we don't change now, we've got another 5 years of suffering under the MCP government.
Mr. Mvula?
President Chakwera has laid the foundation, and now it's time to continue from what he has laid and going forward. Malawi needs to move forward. Malawi needs to economically be transformed. And MCP has put in place everything that is needed to do that. We have learned lessons from the 5 years that we've been in power. The challenges that we've faced has made us to be stronger, but the foundations are there, and they are very strong foundations. And that's why, come 16th September, it's my call to Malawians to make sure that you vote for President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera. Malawi can never afford to go back to the old DPP government regime, full of corruption scandals, full of nepotism, full of economic challenges, you know, and we know even when it comes to elections, it's just full of irregularities. A government that had less public trust and so many unfulfilled promises. And also Malawi can never afford to have somebody who was at the helm of the Reserve Bank of Malawi and ended up messing a lot of money there, making transactions that were not accounted for, allowing transactions to go through that were not allowed by the government, and then coming to promise Malawians that they're going to change Malawi. We can't afford that. That's why, come 16th September, there's only one choice really. It's President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera.
Okay, back to Caroline. He touched a nerve there, which I know you want to respond a little bit. Can we trust a man who was behind the economies under DPP regime?
Oh yes, he has showcased that, you know, if the economy under DPP regime was fine, that's why people now, they think that, you know, they would rather go back to yeah, because they are suffering under the current regime. People actually prefer to go back to the rotten DPP government because of what is happening now. But because the DPP government had Daliso Kabambe, who was at the top of all the finances, at the top of economics, that's why people would rather go back so that they can just have food. So
my comments reserved today because of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Mvula. Thank you very much, Miss Karol Whayo. You are exciting to be around. And you know what? I didn't know what to expect, but you're very well spoken. Thank you so much. And Mr. Mvula, well articulated. You guys, I love you. Let's come back. Please.
Thank you, Chalo, for the good show. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Pastor Chance.
I have some other questions. The other question that I really wanted to ponder about is the security of our country. Okay. We are not talking about it today. I don't have much time, but thank you very much. Let's talk about it next week, Monday.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and the platform.
Really, okay, once again, that is how we ended the show tonight. Chance Munthali is my name. Thank you for joining me. Make noise about it. Next Monday, what is next Monday? I think it's the 1st of September. Imagine we are hitting the 1st of September next week, Monday, and we'll be talking God, church, politics with these two individuals. Join me again. Let me leave you with a song. It wouldn't be God, church, and politics if I didn't leave you with God more than we think it does.
Tima wanga uka foka naso wampamvu Diangana kwainu Diangana kwainu Diangana kwainu Diangana kwa mene moyo Tima wanga foka naso Diangana Chikwa chanchu ziwai Sandisi enega Jiti pelega Uchi tenane